Hello, my name is Emmeline Tyler. I'm an avid reader and also a massive library nerd. Today's video is about 3 books that I found on display at the library, which I ended up loving. Like, seriously, maybe top 10, top 20 books of all time. So first I'm going to go through these books with you, explain a bit about them, and then I'm going to talk about how you too can find your favourite reads at the library. So this one I've talked about on the channel recently, Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. I talked about this in the recent Sister Reads video. I had it as a sister read for Idol by Louise O'Neill. So I won't talk too much about it, but it is a book about 2 women, a babysitter and the mother of the child who's being babysat, and their relationship, and it's about race relations. It's set in, I think, like 2016 or 2017, and it's written by a black author, of course, without which it would be not as good. So I really wanted to promote this one, and this author has just put out a new release as well this year, I think. I can't remember what it's called, but I've already got it reserved on my library list. I almost bought it in the bookstore the other day. I was so excited. This is a debut novel, and she's just a really fresh, funny, clever writer. This one is Afterbirth by Elisa, and it is a novel. I think it also is a debut novel, but I'm not sure. And it is about a young mum living in upstate New York and really struggling. And then she meets this woman in her town who she knows through friends of friends, who's pregnant, and then they form a very strong friendship. And it's very funny, and it's making fun of a lot of modern motherhood, but not in terms of making fun of mums, making fun of systems that pull us away from what is very normal baby rearing. So there's quite a few rants in there, but rant is not quite the right word. It's just so funny. So I found this one at a library when I had a newborn. I'm not sure what I was doing at the library. Maybe the baby was a bit older. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And I just absolutely loved it. Just wouldn't have found it otherwise. This one I also found at the same library when I had a newborn. This is a essay memoir type situation by Emily Wright, who you might have heard of. She has a very successful newsletter which is really well worth subscribing to. These days she writes more political stuff, and this is when she was in the trenches. So she had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and both of them have had medical challenges, and she's really taking the piss, which is a lot of fun. So there's this section in here where she's talking about going on a work trip and just the freedom that it feels, and she's has this line in there where, I'm sorry if you are reading this while actively attached to a child. And it was so funny because I was reading that part while I was breastfeeding my little baby to sleep. So that was some time ago. And when I borrowed this book from a nearby local library to talk in this video, I started rereading it, even though I wasn't going to, but I just wanted to. So I did, and it's just as funny as ever, stands the test of time. Some parts of it are a bit sentimental, and I was yeah. But I think when you're in when you've got really young ones, or just one, then it would probably resonate with you a lot more. So the funny thing about these books is I did pick them up in my local library, but since then none of those libraries that I picked them up in are my local library. So I got this one from my local library, but these ones I had to order from other libraries in the metropolitan area. So where I live in Victoria, Australia, don't quote me on this, but I think most libraries in Victoria, if you have proof of residence in Victoria, you can just join them. You don't have to be in that local council area or that town area. So maybe not every single library, but that has been my experience, most of them. So basically how I started out was I put in a purchase request for these books through my local library, and the librarian wrote back and said, we can't get those from our supplier, but these other libraries have them, so we can get them on interlibrary loan, or you can just get them yourself. And I was like, oh, let's just get them myself. So interlibrary loan was about $2.80, which is what it usually is for like public libraries. University libraries charge more, like sometimes like $20. So that's one way that you can use your local library. But in general, like, finding these books was like such a blessing to my life, and I only did it because I was just there. So if you do have a local library, which if you're in Australia, it's very likely that you do, I really encourage you to just go there and just wander around and see what's on display, and even talk to the librarians if they're friendly, to find your next read. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!